It was a cold December evening, and the restaurant buzzed with the soft hum of conversation and the clinking of silverware against plates. Outside, snow fell in gentle spirals under the glow of street lamps. Inside, warmth pulsed through the air, the kind of warmth that comes not just from heat but from people gathered, sharing meals and stories. Among the sea of diners and servers weaving between tables, a young waiter named Jordan moved with quiet grace. He wasn't the loudest or the fastest, but his calm demeanor and soft smile had earned him a steady stream of regulars and the respect of his co-workers. Jordan was 26, working double shifts most days and barely making ends meet. He dreamed of going back to college to finish his degree in education, but for now, he was focused on keeping the lights on and helping his mother with her medical bills. That night, something about the family at table 6 caught Jordan's eye. A mother, a father, and 2 little kids. One with a gap-toothed grin and the other clinging to a stuffed dinosaur, sat close together, laughing over shared fries and hot chocolate. They didn't order anything fancy, just a modest dinner. But their happiness lit up the dim corner where they sat. As he brought over the bill, the father reached for his wallet, chatting casually with his wife. Then Jordan saw the shift, first a quiet pause, then the awkward fumbling of cards, and finally a tight, embarrassed smile as the man whispered, "I'm so sorry. I think my card's been declined." He tried another. Declined. A third. Still declined. The mother looked down, cheeks flushed, her eyes darting to the children who were oblivious to the tension. "We can come back and pay tomorrow," she offered, but the desperation in her voice made it clear she wasn't sure if that would be possible. Jordan hesitated for a breath, then gently said, "It's okay. Dinner's on me tonight." The father blinked. No, we couldn't." "I insist," Jordan said, smiling softly. "It's the holidays. Consider it a gift." The woman's eyes welled up with tears. The father tried again to protest, but Jordan had already walked away, telling the kitchen staff to clock the bill under his own employee discount and use the cash tips he'd earned earlier. After they left, the mother had pressed something into his hand, just a crumpled napkin with a simple note scribbled in blue ink. "You reminded us there's still kindness in the world. Thank you." That could have been the end of it. Just one kind act in a sea of days and nights spent serving tables. Jordan didn't think much of it afterward, just another night, another paycheck slightly lighter than he could afford. But kindness has a way of echoing back in the most unexpected ways. 3 weeks later, just after New Year's, Jordan walked into the restaurant to find his manager holding an envelope and looking utterly stunned. "This came for you," she said, handing it to him. Inside was a letter and a cashier's check for $25,000. Jordan read the letter once, then again. It was from the family. They hadn't been just anyone. The father, Mark Jacobs, was the CFO of a prominent tech startup. They had been visiting from out of town when Mark's wallet had been compromised in a case of identity theft, leaving them unable to access their funds. What Jordan had seen as a struggling family was in fact a family caught in a brief moment of vulnerability and humility. Mark had been so moved by Jordan's selfless act that he looked him up through the restaurant, reached out to the manager, and arranged to deliver a personal thank you. The check was just part of it. The letter explained that Mark and his wife had set up a small fund to help Jordan go back to school, finish his degree, and chase the dream he had set aside for so long. Tears stung Jordan's eyes as he stood behind the restaurant's back counter, holding the check, the letter, and that familiar feeling of warmth again, but this time, it was pointed directly at him. The story didn't end there. With Mark's help and encouragement, Jordan enrolled in classes part-time. He kept working shifts to support his mom but studied late into the night. Word of his story spread through the town, even landing a local news segment, and suddenly people started coming and asking to sit in his section, just to thank him for reminding them what kindness looked like. One night, months later, a woman with a toddler sat at table 6, the same table where the moment had first unfolded. Jordan didn't recognize her at first, until she handed him a napkin. On it, in the same handwriting as before, were the words, "You reminded us there's still kindness in the world." "I'm just paying it forward," she said, smiling. The story comes full circle not in the money exchanged or the headlines earned, but in the simple truth that kindness, when given freely, returns in ways no one can predict. Jordan's single act of generosity didn't just feed a hungry family. It ignited a chain of compassion that fed souls. And maybe that's the heart of the story: no one is ever too poor to give. Sometimes, the smallest gesture can be the most generous gift of all. Let this story remind us that every person you meet is fighting a battle you may never see. One small act of kindness can change the direction of someone's day, or even their life. Because love, compassion, and human decency, they don't cost a thing, but their value is immeasurable.